Greetings. Before you watch this video, do be warned that this video will cover topics such as suicide, domestic abuse, domestic violence, kidnapping, and various other domestic issues and family issues. If you're sensitive to such things, I suggest you skip this video and watch the second video that I will be uploading, hopefully before 24 hours of uploading this video. Without any further ado, this will be a documentation of my life. For the most part, I will be using mainly stick figures and colors to represent certain stuff. I won't be pointing them out, so you may be in need of being more, more visual, I guess, on what changes in the colors I use. I'm not looking for fame or money making this video. Okay, maybe I did lie about the money, but you will see shortly in my second video if you're interested in my life. Anyways, before I was even born, my family wasn't the greatest. My mother and my father would always throw stuff at each other. They would throw anything around them, from chairs to tables to coffee mugs. You can name anything and they will most likely throw it. And this would go on for quite a while, until when they got tired of the endless fighting. And it's also because the suffering it causes my two brothers. This is all before I was born, so they went through a lot. But the one thing they had over me was that they had each other, unlike me, who grew up mostly alone and with little to no guidance for most of my stuff. Before I turned like 15 or 16, that is, but by then, what's the difference? So, they eventually had me to try and rebond the family. They were tired of this endless cycle of fighting again and again and again. So, there I was. Little old Adagio. Now, I live in Singapore, and shortly after my birth, he wanted me to get a passport. So, we went to the place where we get the passport. There, he would meet my stepmother, or future stepmother in this context, because he saw her as the ideal woman compared to my mother. She was more quiet, she didn't talk back as much. She wasn't as pushy, I guess you could call it. And I guess that what made him turn and beat my mother with an umbrella until her left arm broke. It snapped in half, and ever since she had it repaired, like fixed back, she filed a police order against my father and got a divorce. From then onwards, we would separate, of course, and me being too young to even make a choice, I would go with my mother alongside my second eldest brother would go along with my mother, whilst my oldest brother and my father would go their separate ways. Now, since the divorce needs, like, the house doesn't always go to the mother in Singapore context, they need to sell the house. And with that being said, she needed to buy a new house. So, she took out a loan and bought a mansionette. And ever since she bought it, she was kind of in debt to it. And the reason why she even bought the mansionette is because my grandmother wanted it. But it's fine, as she would later on meet my stepfather and would marry him, only because she needed to pay off the debt. Now, our stay in Singapore was quite short, as we soon moved to Malaysia. I guess the prices there are cheaper if you convert the price, but you'll see why it's bad very shortly. So my grandmother went along. Oops, sorry, forgot to mention that. This is my grandmother, and she also followed along. She lived opposite side of our house, and I didn't draw here, but the house it also contained my stepfather's other children. He had two wives before my mother. However, due to the amount of people that was living in one small place, we decided to move to somewhere else in Malaysia, a more quiet area with no one nearby. I'm not even sure if we have neighbors, as I don't see them live at all. Now, for the most part, since I was things from here ever since I was born until now, things have been mostly normal per se. However, ever since my grandfather died, things would drastically change for some reason. I talked to my family about this as well, and it's quite dumb and ironic in a certain way. My father would get way abusive with me just because I bought toys, and he never told me it was something bad that I did. He just beat me for no reason. He never tells me why he did it, he just beat me for buying toys. My mother always look away, my two siblings always look away. Hell, the entire country of Singapore looks away whenever I bring this up. So yeah, from 7 years old, to 8 years old, I just suffered through this. I don't know what made him stop. Maybe because he married my stepmother. No, yeah, stepmother. Because at 8 years old, which was like 2015 or so, he married my stepmother. I might be wrong though, my memory is kind of foggy. But I'm gonna go on to the more critical stuff now. So, 8 years old, what happened there? First event, I got kind of tired of the constant fighting at home, so I decided to run out in Malaysia in the middle of the night on the road. Now, I was walking next to the road and I met this construction worker. I wasn't sure if he was like any type of ethnicity. I kind of just remembered him being a construction worker, riding a road roller down the street. It might not even be a road roller, I don't exactly remember. But he offered me to bring me to where I wanted to go. I refused. But not for the reasons you may think. I refused because I wanted my family to know I suffered more. I would finally reach a 7-Eleven nearby because I was quite tired from the walking, and my family would somehow find me. I'm not sure how they found me in the first place, but they found me, and during the drive home, they didn't really bring it up. They just act as if nothing happened. They didn't ask me if I was fine or if anything. So yeah, just there's a core memory because I just remembered how sad I was and how stoic I was because I don't remember feeling anything that time. Anyways, after that, this is going into religion. I am Islamic. Like, I was born into an Islamic country. I don't really identify as a Muslim anymore with the stuff I'm about to do, like drinking alcohol. But my mother would react very badly to the time I said Jesus Christ out loud. And I didn't say this because I learned it from some friend or something. No, I learned this from the internet. YouTube. Something she can monitor. Now, what would a sensible person of religion do? Well, I won't give you any points or ask you for questions because I'll just give it to you anyways. She tried to kill me with a knife. Now, I would have died by then if it wasn't for my stepfather stepping in and stopping her from stabbing me. I was back into a couch and she just keep on trying to stab me again and again and again. Luckily, my stepfather was there to save me from dying. Now, 2016. This was a year where almost everything changed. So, during Ramadan, where we all fast, the first day, my mother said she would fetch my brother early, or wait for him and fetch him. But she didn't because he wasn't clear about the time he went back home. But when he did went back home, he would start a fight with my mother by showing attitude. However, during that fight, my stepfather would step in and fight him instead, despite being my mother's fight, not his. I ran up to the second level of the place we lived. Hold on, let me try finding it. Of this place is a 2-story place, and he would fight him. Eventually, he would lose, and he would be pushed into a glass wall. My stepfather, he would be pushed into a glass wall, where a glass shard would be inserted through his hand, his left hand. I remember stepping down, thinking the sound of glass shattering was just some plates being scrambled around. I didn't expect to see not only him holding his hand, but also blood around the dining table, again and again and again. I remember seeing it loop again and again and again. And I think that was the first time I saw so much blood. And I don't know why, but I didn't react in a bad way. I reacted in a way I thought I was meant to by protecting my sister and blocking her eyes, but that's about it. So, what came of this event? Well, ever since then, my stepfather could no longer work the hard, difficult jobs he used to work. And due to my mother not working that time, needed to earn money, so she started a business. Now, due to this business being time consuming, she needed me to come back from Singapore to Malaysia all by myself. Now, let me put this into perspective to you. Imagine seeing a 9-year-old child going to the airport, going through the border, like the border patrol and such, and sitting right next to you waiting for the next airplane. He hops on and leaves the airplane, and you see him walk off the airplane and go into his destination as if it's normal. I remember waiting in the line and waiting for the bus every time. Sometimes it was nice, sometimes it was bad. It doesn't really matter. And this went on for 6 months. To put that into perspective, it was from June to about October. About October, I wasn't really sure. Now, it might not be exactly 6 months, but in the eyes of a child, it felt like 6 months. Now, after all of these events, my mother decided to just go back to living in Singapore. And from 17 to 19, it was quite fine and normal. And I won't go into in depth for this video, but this time period was very important to me as it developed me as a child from a once very angry, very spiteful child to a more calm, more negotiable, I essentially became more human than some sort of survivor. Anyways, so my primary school years was fine. Primary 4 to primary 6, completely fine. Now Sec 1, 13 years old, COVID hits us all. And due to that, I kind of lost like 75% of my teenage years, which was nice. Real nice. But that's fine. But then, and this was the first year I experienced some stress. When I was 14 years old, about Sec 2, it was a bit more difficult for me as I told my teachers I did have suicidal thoughts. And that is the first ever time I actually had any type of intention of killing myself. 15 was the time I did try to jump off at nearby my old school, my old primary school. But I just couldn't as I looked down and it wasn't high enough for me to ensure I died and to ensure that I don't suffer anything more. Instead, I called help support and watched some random anime to pass the time as I calmed down. Now, I'm gonna go drink water because this next part is gonna be it's gonna be difficult for me to tell you all. Now, 16 when I was Sec 4. Early June was our June holiday break. And I got bad grades due to it. I mean, I've gotten bad grades like ever since I was primary 1. But I got bad grades overall. And my brother, my oldest brother, would ask me to go live with them for a second so they could train me and teach me how to study and such. Now, for the first day, it was fine. For the second day, it was fine. The third day, however... Now, I told you about my religion, and one time I forgot to pray with my long pants or with something to cover my legs, and that would cause quite the outrage. The only reason why I didn't wear long pants was because I was quite dizzy that time and I didn't realize I didn't wear long pants. And then my father would keep on shouting at me about me getting low grades again and again and again. And this was my breaking point as my brother would come and shout at me, threaten me again and again and again if I don't pray properly. Now, Islam is meant to be a peaceful religion, yet here I was, getting threatened again and again and again with violence if I don't do it properly. So, on the fourth day, what did I do? I kind of snapped and decided to go to a mall for almost the entire day. Where first I got an MC, I got money from my grandmother, and I would block my phone so no one can contact me. I blocked everyone essentially who tried to contact me. For the entire day, I think I mostly just watched movies and went to the arcade. And I just walked around again and again. But eventually, I decided I don't know how to kill myself and I couldn't find a tall building. And the only one I knew was nearby, so I went home. And when I did, I was confronted by 2 police officers. These 2 police officers would talk to me because my parents reported that I was missing. Now, it was fine for me to talk with them for a while. That was until I saw my brother come along. Now, I did something very stupid. As soon as I saw him, I ran away. I ran away from the police immediately after I see him. And I remember him shouting my name as I ran away. I knew it was wrong to run away from the police, but I just didn't care. I just didn't want to be close to him. So, the next day, I would try to kill myself again. This time being more elaborate with my plan. This was the 18th story of the building. And I would try to kill myself from here alongside my backpack, which contains all my drawing books, like sketchbooks, and I would have them in my bag. I was hoping it would kill me instantly as I jumped down. However, as I looked down from up there, I think I just got scared of just dying. Because I remember I had full clarity of what I was doing. I was fully prepared to kill myself that time. But as soon as I looked down, I just couldn't. Instead, I sat at the chair that I wanted to use to jump over and watch videos. I still remember the video I watched, and maybe I'll link it in the description for you to watch if you want to see what I watch that didn't make me kill myself or something. But from this event, I think something happened to me. I don't know what it was, but something deep inside just didn't feel right, and something didn't feel right. And okay, so what happened after I failed to kill myself? Well, late June, I would get banging on my door, knocking, and when I opened the door, it was both of my brothers who was telling me to come down with them and grab a bag and like my stuff in my father's car. I thought it was simple. I just went to the car, pick up my stuff, and go back home. That was what I thought. However, when I went down, I would walk down. I would then get punched in the face by my father. And so much so, I remember I got very dizzy. And then right after he like punched me twice, my brother would come from behind and choke me for a bit to weaken me more before dragging me to the car. Now they had the child lock on, so I couldn't force my way out even if I wanted to. And I think you should know how I feel if you know how being kidnapped feels. At their house, I remember getting beaten by my father again and again. I remember all the marks of where it was. And I remember my father was just shouting at me, blaming me and blaming my mother and just talking shit about me, threatening me again and again. It was the same thing and again. It was the same song and dance. And the thing I didn't reveal to you was that the final details is that from ever since I was young until this very moment, I was consistently threatened for bad grades, threatened if I don't do this, threatened if I don't do that. I was just threatened out. I was just threatened. That's it. If I don't do something, they'll threaten me. And I remember how quiet I was during this entire moment, as I wanted to live. Immediately after he left, I would talk to my brother, and he would just say I should just go kill myself, and so on. And he would once again threaten me with a lot of stuff, talking bad about me again and again, and yeah. And then afterwards, my second oldest brother would not talk much and would just stand there and watch me. Afterwards, I would go to the police. However, that would not do anything much. Here is the letter my father got, or would have gotten. Actually, no. So this is a letter my father got for what he did to me. Now, he would have gotten a way worse punishment if the investigation go on. but I cancelled it. Not because I felt bad for my brothers or father. No, it was because my mother told me that it was affecting my brother's career, as they were both, no, one of them was serving their national service and the other was in SCDF, essentially a paramedic. And me being me, I felt bad for some reason, despite what they did to me. I remember going down to the station with my mother so I could sign a form where they would cancel the investigation entirely. Ever since then, I felt like the unbecoming of myself. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels weird nowadays being me. I just feel some parts of me disappearing sometimes, and then some parts poking out sometimes. So, that was it. Now, I know I didn't speak talk that well, edited this video in such a way that you might not understand, which is why in the description I will leave a Google Docs file that you can see, hopefully if YouTube gives me. If not, I will link it somewhere else. But there will be where everything is documented. Here, I can show you a brief of it. Here is everything you can see. You can see all this in more view in the actual doc itself. This is point form, but that's because I didn't really want to type most of it. But yes, that is all. So once I upload my second video, it should be linked afterwards, like as an endpoint. And honestly, thank you for watching this far. I don't know what inclined you to watch like some 18-year-old to just talk on and on about their miserable life, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for watching this far. If you wish to support me, watch the second video. I will go more into depth. That's all. Thank you and goodbye.